Hello everyone and welcome to another Jurassic Park video by me, Jeremy James Prutchick. Nick Van Owen is certainly a polarizing character in the Jurassic Park fan community, often seen as either a hero or a villain, a very debatable topic. On that note, there's a very interesting video discussion by fellow Jurassic Park YouTuber Clayton Fioriti who talks about the idea of Nick being either a villain or not. I'll put the link in the description. Regardless as to what you may think about Nick, one thing is for sure, he's definitely a character that gets people talking, both in film and amongst fans. And then we have the Dinosaur Protection Group, an organization dedicated to protecting the dinosaurs. Now, if we take someone like Nick, someone who's been involved with multiple conservation groups, and introduce him to the DPG, how would that go? That's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the idea of Nick Van Owen joining the Dinosaur Protection Group. Now, before I begin, I just want to be clear that this is not a theory. This is just me exploring an idea. So let's get started. Now, the idea of Nick Van Owen having the dinosaurs' best interests in mind is another debatable topic. More on that shortly. But for the sake of conversation with this particular video, let's say that Nick did have the dinosaurs' best interests in mind. Let's say he did care for their well-being. He didn't want anything bad to happen to them, and he did whatever it took to protect them, as we saw in The Lost World. 20 years later, along comes an organization called the Dinosaur Protection Group. The purpose of this organization is pretty self-explanatory, but to get a better understanding as to what the DPG stands for, I'm going to give a quick recap by reading the mission statement of the DPG. Quote, "The Dinosaur Protection Group, DPG, is dedicated to establishing and protecting the rights of all living dinosaurs. The DPG was founded and operates under the principle that dinosaurs are not ours to experiment upon or exploit for entertainment or financial gain. Though we brought them back to existence, we do not thereby claim the right to assume control of them. We are focused upon securing their health, providing a sustainable environment, and limiting human intrusion into their lives. The DPG works through public education, research, rescue, legislation, special events, and when needed, direct action. All operations are 100% funded by the financial support of like-minded individuals. No amount of donation will buy any amount of influence." End quote. So if you're a dinosaur lover that generally cares for their well-being, this organization sounds like it would be right up your alley. Again, for the sake of conversation, let's say that Nick has the dinosaurs' best interests in mind. Logically, the Dinosaur Protection Group seems like a perfect fit for Nick, right? Well, let's talk about that. In the Lost World movie, Nick did a lot of things that were highly questionable. He freed the dinosaurs, which led to the destruction of both the InGen Hunters' camp and their communication equipment. He brought the baby T-Rex back to the trailers, which led to its parents coming for it, destroying said trailers, and killing Eddie Carr. And then he took the bullets out of Roland's gun, which led to a continuous rampage from the T-Rex. Very questionable decisions. Even before all that, Roland Tembo knew about Nick and his history, when he referred to him as that Earth First bastard. That's pretty specific to be referred to as that particular person. That usually comes with the territory of doing something big. Now, I'm not about to get into politics because, quite frankly, I hate politics, but as far as movie canon goes, Earth First has gained a notorious reputation, according to Roland, as he referred to them as professional saboteurs and criminals. So it was apparent that the word spread pretty quickly about Nick and his history, and that was way back in 1997. Imagine if that were to happen today, especially now that we have social media like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And you know what? Maybe Nick's still getting flack for what he did, only this time on social media. Anyway, before I get too much off track, let's get back to the question at hand. I want to talk about Nick joining the DPG. I'm going to cover two different scenarios as to what could have happened. Scenario number one is that Nick directly approached Claire and expressed his interest in joining the DPG. He may have even boasted about his adventures on Isla Sorna in an attempt to sell himself as a good fit for the organization. Now, sometimes, some non-profit organizations do background checks on new volunteers for security purposes, safety, etc. So it's quite possible that Claire did a background check on Nick. Back when Claire was forming the DPG, she could have read up on other conservation groups, learning different ways of how to do things or how not to do things for the DPG, and she could have learned more about Nick this way. She could have learned that Nick was notorious for using extreme methods during his time with Earth First, and even on Isla Sorna, and for that reason, she could have rejected Nick from joining the DPG. On the other hand, we have scenario number two, which in my opinion is the more likely scenario. Nick was not interested in joining the Dinosaur Protection Group at all. Now, this is just my opinion, but generally speaking, I believe Nick has little to no interest in dinosaurs whatsoever. Yeah, he helped the baby T-Rex and was awed by the Stegosauruses, but I still don't think he was that interested in dinosaurs. Why? Because Hammond hired Nick to sabotage InGen's mission. He went to Isla Sorna because that's what he was hired for. It was strictly business. He was paid to do a job, and he did it well. And to further illustrate my point, Nick practically said that he wasn't interested in dinosaurs. I'll play the clip.
Greenpeace, what drew you there?
Women. 80% female Greenpeace.
Noble.
Yeah. Well, Noble was last year. This year I'm getting paid. Hammond's check cleared. Or I wouldn't be going on this wild goose chase.
There you go. He was basically only in it for the money, not for the overall purpose of studying the dinosaurs. So with that in mind, I feel that Nick had no interest in the Dinosaur Protection Group. As far as Nick goes, I'm trying to be as non-biased as I can, just looking at the facts and events that happened regarding him. What we saw in the movie was what we got. Now, given his known background, ask yourself, would Nick be a good fit for the Dinosaur Protection Group? Personally, I don't think so, but that's just me. Food for thought. With that said, this wraps up another video. Do you think it's possible that Nick Van Owen tried to join the Dinosaur Protection Group? Or not? Do you think the DPG could have used someone like him? Or not? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more, check out my channel and subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell. See you next time.